If you think transformation is a comfortable process, full of pretty phrases and gentle steps, you're probably mistaken. What's about to happen here isn't just a tweak, not a slight improvement, it's demolition. And the first thing that must fall is the version of you that learned how to survive, but never really learned how to live. The old self, packed with fears disguised as caution and excuses dressed up as humility, must be destroyed so the new can be born. This isn't one of those videos that strokes the ego or feeds false hope. Here, we're going to expose things you've probably felt deep down but might have avoided facing head on. Because, unlike what many believe, real transformation isn't comfortable, it's radical. It demands the death of the old self, the one you've unknowingly been protecting for years. And here's your warning. This video isn't for those who just want a little more inspiration or pretty theories. This video is an invitation to destroy your old self, the one holding you back, the one imprisoning you, the one keeping you from truly living. Most people never realize what's really holding them back. They think it's a lack of opportunity, luck, or time. But the brutal and liberating truth is that what's keeping you stuck is who you still believe you are. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to start tearing out, from the inside, everything that no longer matches the grand future that belongs to you. Many people spend their whole lives unaware of how deeply they're trapped in the invisible chains of their own mind. The old self loves to play with fear, doubt, and procrastination like cards in a game it always wins. And the worst part, it becomes so automatic that it feels normal. It's like saying, it's always been this way just to justify why nothing ever changes. But those who seek growth always encounter something uncomfortable: dissatisfaction. What few realize is that the dissatisfaction we feel isn't our enemy. It's often a sign of awakening. When someone starts feeling deeply uncomfortable with their own stagnation, they're receiving one of life's greatest blessings: the opportunity to confront the old self. It's not about hating who you've been. It's about realizing that if nothing changes inside, nothing will change outside. And for that, you need courage, the raw courage to look in the mirror and ask, what exactly am I allowing to keep me stuck? Without that honesty, it's impossible to break the cycle. Many people try to escape this feeling by diving into distractions, social media, endless shows, meaningless conversations. And without realizing it, they tighten the invisible chains even more. The old self will always come up with smart excuses. Excuses like, now's not the best time. I need to be more prepared. Once this or that happens, then I'll change. But real change never waits for perfect conditions. Those determined to break their chains understand that the time to act is exactly when fear says to wait. Recognizing these excuses is the dividing line between staying stuck and truly freeing yourself. Challenging the old self isn't a one-time act. It's a daily process. Every small decision carries within it the chance to either reinforce who you've been or step into who you want to become. And it's exactly at this point, where real discomfort begins, that a deeper truth surfaces. To build a new reality, you must first let go of everything that still ties you to the past. Many people believe that healing old wounds or overcoming bad memories is enough to create a new life. But the real blind spot goes deeper. It's the silent attachment to the old identity, the image you've carried for years without ever questioning it. It doesn't matter how much healing you do if you still believe you are the same limited person from before. Letting go, in this context, means not only releasing the pain but also releasing the self that was holding you back. The attachment to the old self is tricky because it disguises itself as stability and security. You convince yourself you know who you are because you've always reacted the same way, liked the same things, defended the same ideas. But as long as you keep carrying the weight of who you were, it's impossible to expand into something greater. It's like trying to squeeze through a narrow door while dragging a huge suitcase. You simply can't get through. Dropping that baggage is what clears the way for a new reality. This is where many people sabotage themselves without realizing it. They change their environment, switch careers, start new projects, but they keep acting from the same old internal programs. As a result, the outside changes, but the feeling of being stuck remains. If you truly want to create a new reality, start questioning. Does this thought, this reaction, this behavior belong to my new self or to my old self? That kind of self-analysis changes everything. Letting go hurts because, deep down, it's a kind of mourning. It's like burying old definitions of yourself, including the ones that once protected you but now keep you trapped. No external ritual, no matter how beautiful or symbolic, can replace the real internal process of shedding an old identity. Understanding this process of letting go is crucial for everything that comes next. Because as long as we're still clinging to old stories, any transformation will be shallow and temporary. And as you free yourself from who you were, you'll realize something that few truly understand. To reach bigger dreams, you must first become a bigger version of yourself. We dream big, we want new outcomes, but we stubbornly act with the same self-image we've always had. It's like trying to run new software on an old frozen computer. It doesn't matter how much effort you put in, errors will keep showing up. To achieve something you've never lived before, you first have to see yourself in a way you've never seen yourself. Transformation begins with your inner mirror, not external circumstances. The truth is that our results are just reflections of the identity we carry. Someone who believes they're limited will never consistently build something extraordinary. To change that, you have to work at the root, not just treat the symptoms. For example, if you want to thrive financially, ask yourself, how does a prosperous person think, feel, and act daily? Then, start embodying that version of yourself until it becomes real. Building a new self-image requires persistence and daily intention. It's not enough to just say positive affirmations without changing your actions. If the new version of you is confident, what small acts of courage can you practice today? Actions aligned with the new identity are what make the transformation real. Many people give up at this point because they're waiting to feel like the new person before acting like it. But the feeling comes from the action, not the other way around. In the beginning, it may feel forced, uncomfortable, strange, and that's okay. It's a sign you're stepping out of the old self. Transforming yourself from the inside out is the only real way to change what happens outside. When your new identity becomes unshakable, the world begins to respond in surprising ways. And it's exactly at this point, when a new reality starts forming, that an even deeper challenge arises, realizing that detachment goes way beyond symbolic gestures. True detachment happens in the invisible places, where you sever the emotional ties to beliefs, stories, and philosophies that no longer serve you. Without this emotional rupture, nothing really changes. The old self loves to hide behind symbolic gestures because they give the illusion that something has been resolved without requiring any real transformation. It's like sweeping dirt under the rug. It looks clean on the surface, but the mess is still there underneath. Real detachment is visceral, silent, and deep. Someone who truly liberates themselves from an old identity feels it from the inside out, without needing external validation. For example, instead of just declaring that you've let go of fear, look at your actions. Are you still hesitating? Or are you moving forward despite the fear? True detachment is proven in daily practice, in those small moments when you choose to act as your new self, even when the old self screams for safety. Another common trap is using spirituality as a way to delay real change. Many people get lost in endless courses, therapies, and techniques, thinking they need to prepare more before letting go of the old self. But the leap doesn't happen by piling on more methods. It happens through a firm, non-negotiable internal decision to leave behind what no longer serves you. It's an energetic cut, not just a ritual of intention. When you understand the depth of detachment, you realize that everything still holding you back might actually be an invitation to dive deeper. It's not enough to just talk about freedom. You have to feel the emptiness where attachment used to be and have the courage to sit in that space without rushing to fill it. And it's exactly at this point of internal rupture that a new horizon begins to open, the chance to spot the invisible saboteurs that still try to pull you back. Many of the thoughts that sabotage us don't come dressed as fear. They come disguised as wisdom. Phrases like, "I don't need to be successful to be happy," or "I prefer security over ambition," sound humble and mature but are often subtle traps built by fear. The mind builds beautiful philosophies to justify avoiding discomfort and risk. And as long as these ideas stay untouched, the old self remains in control. Identifying these hidden philosophies and limiting beliefs is one of the most strategic parts of the transformation process. It's not enough to spot obvious negative thinking. You have to uncover those beliefs that look like virtues but actually paralyze your growth. A good exercise for this is to write down everything you often say about success, money, love, and purpose, and question whether it comes from courage or from fear. For example, the belief that money corrupts might block someone from creating financial abundance even if they desire it. Or believing that seeking a purpose is selfish might trap someone in a life without meaning. When you investigate the roots of these beliefs, you begin dismantling the invisible chains that define your internal limits. The key here is not to fight these beliefs with anger or denial, but to see them for what they are, protections built to survive in an old reality. Once you understand this, it becomes much easier to replace these ideas with new beliefs that support your growth. A practical example would be replacing "I don't need much" with "I can have plenty and still be humble and generous." And with that shift, you realize you were never trapped by a lack of ability, but by the ideas you accepted as truths. As you begin updating your belief system, an even deeper transformation becomes possible, the true rebuilding of your identity. Changing your identity isn't about thinking positive for a few minutes a day. It's a deep psychological process that requires consistency, intention, and daily practice. Your brain must be reprogrammed to accept a new definition of who you are, and that only happens when you repeatedly reinforce this new internal image. It's like building muscle. Strength and endurance come from repetition, not from occasional effort. The first step toward this change is consciously choosing who you want to be, not just what you want to have or do, but who you need to become to live your new reality. A powerful exercise is to write a detailed description of this new identity, how they think, how they behave, how they face challenges. Reading this every day out loud helps anchor the new image into your subconscious mind. Daily practice is what separates those who truly transform their lives from those who just dream about it. Creating affirmations, visualizing specific scenarios where you already act as your new self, and most importantly, taking action even when the old self tries to sabotage you, are key parts of this process. It's not about waiting until you feel ready. It's about acting as if you already are, until your mind accepts it as truth. The old self will always try to pull you back, especially when you're tired, frustrated, or insecure. That's why it's important to shield your mind with habits that reinforce your new identity. Small daily actions, changing your posture, the way you speak, the environments you choose, send clear signals to your brain that change is real and irreversible. As this internal rebuilding process advances, the external world starts responding differently. Opportunities appear, connections form, and experiences aligned with your new identity start to fill your life. And it's exactly at this point of expansion that the greatest enemy appears, the fear of the unknown and the temptation to retreat back into the safe zone of the old self. Leaving behind the old self and embracing a new identity is like jumping off a cliff and trusting that invisible wings will open. Uncertainty is terrifying because the ego has been conditioned to seek safety at any cost. But it's precisely in crossing into the unknown that true transformation happens. Those who learn to dance with uncertainty discover an inner strength they could never access inside their comfort zone. And while fear of the unknown is natural, it doesn't have to be a barrier. In fact, it can be seen as a sign that you're exactly where you need to be. If everything still feels too comfortable, it might be time to ask yourself honestly, are you just walking familiar circles? Growth rarely happens where everything is predictable. And when fear shows up, because it will, rather than judging yourself or feeling weak, pause and reflect. In this moment, am I honoring my new self or protecting old patterns that no longer serve me? Asking yourself this without judgment invites you to remember who you are becoming. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. Imagine someone who's always dreamed of starting a business but fears leaving a secure job. If they wait to feel completely ready, that day may never come. Transformation demands bold steps, taken while the heart still races and the hands still tremble. It's crucial to understand that the human brain is designed to resist the new. Every time you step outside your familiar routine, your internal system sets off danger alarms. But these alarms don't necessarily mean you're on the wrong path. They simply mean you're expanding your limits. Over time, what feels scary today becomes tomorrow's new normal, because today's uncertainty becomes tomorrow's comfort. Facing the fear of the unknown is like crossing a bridge that still seems invisible. Every step forward is an act of faith in yourself and in life. And it's precisely by crossing that bridge that you don't just create a new reality, you build a new internal foundation. And it's here that the first real signs of personal rebirth start to appear. Personal rebirth isn't a magical event that happens overnight. It's the result of a series of small, intentional choices made day after day. The first step is to honestly look within and identify which identities you're still carrying that no longer represent who you want to be. It's uncomfortable, sure, but that honest look is what separates superficial change from real transformation. Once you recognize what needs to be left behind, it's time to build something new. And it begins by consciously creating the opposite of those old identities. If you've always seen yourself as anxious, start defining yourself as someone who trusts the flow of life. If you've believed you're invisible, start seeing yourself as someone who has value and a voice. Reprogramming starts the moment you dare to believe in a new version of yourself. It's not enough to just think differently. You have to act differently, even when you don't feel ready. If the new identity you want to embrace is someone courageous, commit to taking at least one small step every day that pushes you out of your comfort zone. It could be a conversation you've been avoiding, a project you've postponed, or a new self-care habit you've neglected. Daily repetition is what seals the transformation. Imagine if, every day, you affirmed, through your words and actions, that you already are the person you're becoming. It wouldn't be a matter of if change will happen, but when. Practicing this new self until it feels natural is the most reliable path for transformation to take root. And if doubt creeps in, because it will, remember, it's okay. What matters is that you keep moving forward. Confidence doesn't come from immediate results. It comes from the certainty that by staying committed to your new self, the universe will inevitably respond. Because external results are just reflections of internal shifts. And it's exactly at the moment when the first signs begin to appear that you'll be called to do something even greater, not to hesitate, but to act with the energy of someone already living the transformation. There comes a moment on this journey when thinking, reflecting, and planning are no longer enough. Like I said before, transformation demands action. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Hesitation is the old self trying to survive. Every second you delay action is a second the old self grows stronger. Real commitment to change begins when you act before you feel completely ready. Certainty comes after action, not before. When you truly commit, you generate an energy that transforms everything around you. Imagine if today, right now, you took one practical step toward your new identity, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect. That movement alone would already change everything. The best version of yourself already exists, but it's buried under layers of fear, doubt, and old habits. And the only way to reveal it is to start acting like it's already in control. Show yourself that the change has already begun. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting to fully understand before acting, but life doesn't respond to stagnant intention. It responds to movement. Every small action aligned with your new identity is like a secret password that unlocks invisible doors. And once you start moving, something incredible happens. You begin to feel worthy, capable, and connected to the future that already belongs to you. This commitment to immediate action is what separates dreamers from transformers. It's through this action, this movement in life, that the natural manifestation of a new reality unfolds, a reality built from your new self. It doesn't matter how long you were trapped in the old self. What matters is what you choose to do now with what you know. Every new action is a seed that can bloom into a completely different reality. If you feel deep down that you're ready for this transformation, then take action. Don't wait to change your life or to become the best version of yourself. And don't underestimate the power of small conscious steps. They are the invisible bricks building an extraordinary life. Thank you for embarking on this journey with me. If this video resonated with you, I invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with others so they can benefit from this message. And don't forget to leave a comment below sharing your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. Thanks again for watching and for joining me. Take care and see you soon.